So this article went viral on X. It suggests that men under 24 are returning to homophobic views of past generations. Who could have seen this happen? I mean, to me, it's not surprising because the LGBT activists have worked tirelessly for the last 2 decades in order to bring back these homophobic views. And when people pointed this out on X, they were said, oh no, you're victim blaming. You're victim blaming. It's like, okay, so do you think when the San Francisco choir that consisted mainly of gay people decided to sing We're Coming for Your Children and then posted it online, and then instead of like having massive condemnation from Reddit, from Blue Sky, from all the social media, it instead was being glorified and promoted, and they were like, oh, we're sticking it to the bigots. Did you not think like that's going to affect some views from people? Like I'm just saying, you know, when you had the month of terror, which was Pride Month, and every single Pride Month, the activists were trying to outcompete each other on getting individual banned from social media during the Jack Dorsey era. Like you had Steven Crowder being constantly attacked for just his normal views. When you have J.K. Rowling being attacked, like, did you not think that's going to affect how people view the LGBT community? Because, like, here's the thing. The reason the LGBT community got support in the first place is because they were viewed as victims. And they were, in some cases, like, especially when Sweden was castrating homosexuals, and by the way, the Swedish government, like, recently apologized for that. But back then, they were victims, right? When the Soviet Union was locking gay people up. Like, it was actually a crime to be gay. Like, they would put you in a prison. They weren't actually victims. But when they became the aggressors, when they started going on the internet and attacking VTubers for playing the Hogwarts video game and stuff, like, of course people are going to change their opinions. The whole deal was what happens in someone's bedroom is none of your business. And people agreed with that, and then they took their bedroom and they tried to stuff it down people's throats. Libs of TikTok got famous because she got videos from various kindergarteners and school teachers saying how they want to crack eggs. And saying how they believe that if you have like a girl that's a tomboy or a boy that plays with girls, they're actually a secret transgender person, and they require to be encouraged to transition. And there were schools that were trying to do this so that the parents don't know and stuff like that. Is that like what happens in people's bedrooms, or is it now a public issue? Or when you had kids that would leave skid marks on a rainbow sidewalk, and the leftists, they wanted those kids in prison. They wanted like the maximum, the harshest sentence ever. What do you think would happen? And so, yeah, I do believe that the activists have done everything in their power in order to create this environment where apparently men under 24 are returning to the homophobic views in the past. And I would like to point out that it's not really true. The homophobic views in the past were extreme. Like, even for the most homophobic person today, if you were to show him the views of the past, he would be appalled. It would be like, okay, well, not that far. But no, it's true. Like, the acceptance for the LGBT ideology is declining. And one of the main reasons is that it's in the name. It's identity politics, right? Like, they wanted to make the politics of a nation to be dependent on that of identity. And so they tried to create the idea that if a person is gay, they are also left-leaning Democrat. Now, the problem is that the left-wing Democrats, they have other goals and aspirations that don't necessarily have anything to do with homosexuality. Like, for instance, they can raise taxes. They can decide that leaf blowers that operate on gas should be banned. They can decide that gas vehicles should be taxed, right? And so, like, when people are affected by these policy changes, and you connect Democrats with the LGBTs, well, people who are upset are the Democrats that bring La Cocaína in the White House, transgender titties in front of the White House, and all of the corporations that have rainbow flags and shit. They now start associating that with the LGBT community, an association that was done by the activists, right? So like if people suddenly start voting right-wing, well, they will view that any type of LGBT ideology must be left-leaning. But anyway, right, what they're saying here is that men born in the 2000s are far more likely to hold conservative views on LGBTQ rights compared to previous generation and women of the same age. Now, I want to point out something interesting. Do you know how like all these activists, like they change the terms of service on social media so that if you misgender someone, you get banned, and they constantly got actors and people fired for having any type of view that's dissenting? Notice how like the original people that became acceptance of homosexuality, like they didn't go through any indoctrination. Like the people in 2000s, like literally did not have any HR lady telling them how to behave around gay people. Like, isn't that interesting, right? So like, I can directly prove that the activists had like a negative impact. And the reason they had a negative impact is obviously the grift, right? It was very profitable to be part of an NGO that promotes LGBT ideology because you're getting money from the government and you're using that money in order to pay your consultants and to pay your grift and to pocket some of it. And in exchange, you try to mobilize people to vote for the politicians. So it was like a self-revolving door. They didn't really care about gay people. What they cared about is the money. And I know like in my country, for example, a couple of LGBT activists that were at the leadership position, they were straight. They were straight, but like they literally enjoyed the grift. They enjoyed the raking in the cash. So 65% of 2000 men believe homosexuality should be accepted in society, over 7% less than those born in the 1990s, and 3% less than the 1980s men. But this is the important part, right? Like this is exactly what the study is saying. Trans rights were by far the most contentious subject among young people. 60% of 2000 women say they believe trans people should be accepted by society, while 44% of 2000 men answer similarly. And gay people notice this. Like they notice that the T is what's causing issues. Because for most gay people, it was, okay, if we manage to get gay marriage, that's good. Like we don't want anything else. But it wasn't enough. Like once they got gay marriage, the activists still needed a source of revenue. And so like they went after including trans people. And trans people like demanded pronouns, they demanded representation in media and everything else. And so they are the ones that created the public outcry. And the LGBT community, noticing the public outcry, they said, okay, well, let's have a divorce. And they created the LGB community. And they were immediately accused of being homophobic, racist, bigots. They got banned from Reddit. They got banned from Twitter. They got banned from everywhere, right? So it's not like the gay people didn't notice this issue. And it's not like they didn't try to separate themselves from this issue, but it didn't work out. And so anyway, we'll see what happens, because usually women are the enforcers of the status quo in most societies. And so if you are in a society that champions LGBT rights to the point where your embassies and all of your corporations have the flag, then women follow suit. If you have a society that's like Sweden back in the day that would castrate homosexuals, women would support that. Women always support what the state wants. They support the status quo. And so if men like suddenly shift culture and they manage to change ideology, well, the studies in 2050 are going to look very different than the ones today. We'll see what happens. My question is like, how will the activists act the moment a Democrat manages to win the presidency in the United States? Are they going to revert back to the madness, or are they going to be a little bit more reserved? Because that's all they have to do. Like, it's fine, you know, you can be gay, you can be transgender, but like a little bit more reserved, if it's possible. You know, maybe like don't bring the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to the Dodgers Stadium. I'm just saying. For those of you who don't know, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence are a group of cross-dressers that mock Catholicism nonstop. Like they twerk next to crosses of Jesus and shit like that. And they decided it's a good idea to have those people in front of a family event which is filled with Catholic Christians. And it's like, my brother in Christ, like, you're doing it to yourselves. Like, maybe in some cases, victim blaming is not bad, you know? Like, what if the victim is actually the aggressor? Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.